Good evening. The Monday, May 9th, 2022 regular meeting of the Paris City Council is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. For the purpose of this meeting, there's a quorum of the council present. Item number 2 is the invocation given by Mr. Gene Anderson, and the Pledge of Allegiance. Item number 3 will be led by Mayor Pro Tem Hughes. Please rise.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we're indeed grateful for all the many things that you do for us, for your divine intervention. And Father, we just pray that as we take action tonight and do the city's business, that we would do it in a way that's pleasing in your sight and that would glorify your name. And we just ask, Father, that you would continue to bless our city and our state and our nation and guide and direct us in everything. For we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 is the presentation of the Mayor's Yard of the Month Awards. I will call your name, and if you'll come down, meet me on the floor down here. It is an honor to be able to recognize these citizens tonight for the beauty that they're helping to bring to Paris. The first award is to Lamar National Bank, and we have Mr. Greg Wilson, Lauren Wilson. All right, and the Daughtries, would you come up? Nice to meet you. Hi, Lauren. Thank you. Congratulations. The $25 gift cards are generously provided by Keep Paris Beautiful, and Ms. Crawford is their chairman. Number 2 is Ms. Chris Holso, and she is from my council district, District 7. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's beautiful. That's fun.
Number 3 is Miss Dorotha Miller, and she is in, I believe, who's your,
No, right here.
oh, would you like to come down and get your picture taken? Congratulations. We'll let your councilman get here. Thank you so much. Next is Miss Ruth Ann Alsobrook, and I don't see her. Oh, there she is. Okay, great. And your councilman is Mayor Pro Tem Hughes. He's on his way down. Next are Mike and Pat Roberts. If you'll come forward, please. They have even taken some property that is a nearby easement, and they've completely landscaped it too. And is Miss Green here? Ellen Green?
She's on her way, she's gonna take care of another, but she's on her way now.
You want to
Sure, we can.
accept it for her? Okay. We can get her picture with us some other time. This is for the, oh, okay. And this award is a new one this year. It's the Rehab of the Month. It can be a residence or a business that has maybe been unloved for a long time, and a building owner has taken the property and just worked magic restoring it. So we appreciate that. Thank you. Item 4B is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city council members, or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for citizens' forum. If necessary, the city council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on this agenda. The public forum is now open. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sims Normand. I live at 606 Church Street, and I am here to encourage you to support the rental registration and vacant house registration for residential rentals in the All Historic Overlay District. Had I been the one naming that, it would have been a bit shorter. You know, for our community to grow, we need new dollars. One way we can get new dollars is for the EDC to be successful in retaining our jobs and bringing new jobs. Another way we can generate economic growth is to have tourism dollars. And if we have an attractive historical district, that will encourage people from the urban areas to come spend the weekend here, spend their dollars in our motel, hotels, and short-term rentals downtown. So I ask you all please to support this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Normand. Anyone else wishing to come forward? Seeing none, the Citizens Forum is now closed. Item number 4C is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved by a single action of the council, with such approval applicable to all items appearing on the consent agenda. A council member may request any item to be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. Does any member wish to remove an item? All right. If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimous. Item number 10 on the regular agenda, receive presentation from North Star regarding the branding and marketing project. Mr. Path?
I'd like to introduce to you Will Ketchum. He is our representative tonight for North Star Branding and Marketing. As you are aware, we've been working with EDC and Chamber on a very exciting project to develop a unified marketing branding strategy for the city of Paris, one that all three branches will utilize together. And so we've contracted with North Star to guide us through this process. They are here all this week doing interviews, one-on-ones, as well as focus groups. You will all be participating one or component or the other. And so tonight, Mr. Ketchum will be giving you kind of a brief overview of the project, of the program, and what this week in stores. And so I will turn over to Mr. Ketchum.
Welcome to Paris.
Thank you. Thank you, Grayson. And Mayor, members of the council, thank you. It's great to be here in Paris. We've been talking for a few months to your representatives and finally here and ready to do our work and very excited about it. It's great to be here. I just wanted to provide a very general overview of the importance of place branding and how this process is going to work, and just share a quick few examples of how it's worked for others. Why place branding? This sounds squishy and soft, doesn't it? But you know what? It's a competitive world. Jobs, investment, visitors, new residents, every community in this smaller competitive world we live in has to fight for their share of the pie. Texas is growing, that's great. Paris needs to get its fair share of jobs and investment and new residents. And economic development is so important, and residential pride is as well. Place branding can assist in all those ways. You know what? I am not clicking forward. I'm going to scroll. A bit about us. We work around the country. One of our greatest advantages is we are not local. We believe that bringing new perspective can be helpful. Sometimes you don't see what's right in front of you, as they say. Also, we know what other communities around the country are doing and how they position and market, and we can help you be different than that. At the end of the day, we help communities reach their preferred futures. So we believe that branding and marketing can be one tool in your arsenal to help you put your best foot forward for the future you want. These are some of the communities we've worked with around the country. They say that your brand is what they say about you when you're not around. If you think about that, that really is what your reputation is. It's how you're viewed from afar. I think you all have a very certain understanding of what Paris is to you, but what do they think from afar? Those are the folks we want to influence to have the right perception so that you own your narrative from afar. And so branding is what you do about that. But all the same, we believe as branding professionals that branding has a branding problem. And that is that most people associate branding with a logo and a slogan. And I'm here to tell you that a logo and a slogan won't do much. We do great ones of those, and we plan to bring that to Paris, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. What we want here is a story and a narrative that is true, authentic, ownable, and distinct that can help you reach your strategic objectives. So yes, there's a logo, there probably will be a slogan, but there's so much more than that to this branding project. We'll look at how that's worked for others. At the end of the day, it's about unifying residents. It's giving those from afar an expectation of why you're different, what is compelling in Paris from an employment, investment, residential, lifestyle, visitation, all those things, and also helping to professionalize the municipal government and the core agencies to build trust and confidence in the community, as this body already has. Why community branding? Well, there's a lot of work in the country around quality of place, and you're doing a lot of that work here in your downtown, in your parks, in how you've worked so hard to create a good quality of life. But employers, if you start on this graph at around 9 o'clock, they want talented workers. We know employers need people right now. Well, talented workers want to live in quality places, and so communities like you are striving to increase the quality of their place. Well, they have to get the message out about that quality of place, and then ultimately, and that's the branding over here at around 3 o'clock, and then ultimately, as a quality place telling its story, you're going to attract residents, jobs, investments, and visitors, and then the cycle continues. So what we've learned is that communities generally become more competitive and see improvement in their overall reputation when all the main sectors of the community are aligned around a common strategy, a common DNA, a compass setting, saying this is where we're going, this is what we stand for. When a community does that together, and you're doing that with all the players at the table, the City of Paris, the PEDC, and the Lamar County Chamber of Commerce, all of them collaborating, so that you're swimming in the same direction. Just some more benefits that research in Europe has told us about place branding. The practice is more advanced over there. It's now coming to the States more aggressively. We've been at it a couple of decades, but communities around the U.S. are starting to see that increased competitiveness, higher return on investment, coherent city development, meaning we're all sort of, again, focused on development and policy and placemaking that fits the DNA of the city, and of course building pride among residents and those who may consider you. Workers are reconsidering things in the wake of COVID. You've heard about this. There's about 160 million in our U.S. labor force. A good 40 million may stay fully remote. Half of them will move. So people are considering better locations to live. They're leaving the big cities. They're leaving crowded, expensive places and seeking smaller, more livable places like Paris. So a fifth of those folks want out of a major city. That's about 4 to 5 million people, to do the math, that you might have a shot at attracting to Paris. Now, we know that you don't want just remote workers. Your employers want workers that go to work. So there are folks moving for jobs, but also the remote dynamic means that someday they may, in fact, leave their remote job and go to work for a Paris company. How to win them? Well, quality of place, quality of life at the foundation of the pyramid, and that is what you've done such a good job of here in Paris. We know you're also an affordable place to live, and then you also have a strong remote work ecosystem. So you're already well positioned to take advantage of these trends. A bit of research we've done recently, just will point out that first bullet on the right. You might remember that your parents or your grandparents chose the job first, and then they went to that town. You went to where the factory was. That's not the case anymore. People choose where they want to live, so the right place to live comes first. And over 46% of those who moved to smaller to mid-sized communities in some research we published last year. Our focus is on smaller to mid-sized communities, and so that Why They Move study is something we do each year. But only 12% of people move just for the job. So that tells you how important your quality of place and also how this brand could be a contributor. A little bit about our approach. 3 key pillars: resident engagement and research. That's why we're here this week. We're going to meet with as many people as we can. We're going to talk to as many people as we can. Focus groups, depth interviews, touring. Hope to talk to so many folks and experience and drive and see everything. A process to build stakeholder consensus. This is important, that we have a visible process. We don't go behind the curtain and come back in 9 months and say, ta-da. This is a process that is very open and transparent, and that we want to bring the community along with us on the journey. And so that is how we build consensus and also inclusiveness into this process. It's not a secret process. And then, of course, unique creativity and activation plans. That might seem what the project's really about, but those other 2 pillars are really important. The process in more depth looks sort of like an hourglass. At the center of the hourglass is the DNA and strategy formation. That's where we're going to stop and do a midpoint. This is about a 8 to 10 month process you see here represented, these 5 key steps. We're going to stop at the midpoint and agree together on this DNA and strategy before we get into the creative. And the DNA is really a statement of what you stand for. What is Paris, Texas, the center of the universe of? That's what we'd like to figure out together. Then we get into the creative aspects of it. Wanted to just share a few examples of how the work has impacted others. In downtown New Orleans, you know that Katrina came in 2005 and dealt quite a blow. They wanted to rebuild their downtown, attract the creative class to the downtown area, the entrepreneurial spirit, and this downtown NOLA branding and marketing was very effective for them. Over $4 billion in investment followed in the years after that launch. Columbus, Indiana is a small town, about an hour and a half southeast of Indianapolis, about in the 30,000s, not dissimilar to Paris in size. Cummins Engines was based there, and their founder in the 50s really believed in architecture, and he built some beautiful structures. Sounds like your downtown, which has some beautiful architecture. And they decided finally they needed to leverage that architecture. So Unexpected, Unforgettable became their branding. There's a much longer story, but it led to some great economic development gains. You can see there that they were one of the top locations for economic development in the U.S. And they've actually grown in population since then, so it's worked well for them. In Fayetteville, North Carolina, they have Fort Bragg, the largest U.S. military base in the U.S. We share this because this is an example of a community that collaborated, and we guided them just like you're doing. You can see the city, the county, the chamber, the EDC, downtown, the Arts Council. They all came together, and they wanted to expand their story beyond the military. They were an army town, a military town. You know those types of towns, and it's a tough tag. It's a great base for your economy, but it's hard to live beyond that reputation. And what we saw was a spirit there of service, generosity, and readiness that extended well beyond the military, and so Can Do Carolina became their theme, and America's Can Do City. And that's worked very effectively for them, helping them to be more than a military town. And you can see how those messages apply. We leverage what they have in the military, but we try to help them build beyond it. And then just moving along in out west in Bakersfield, California, that's probably Southern California's less shiny city. San Diego and LA get all the glory. Bakersfield suffered a reputation issue. Some of the smog from LA makes its way up into the lower Central Valley where Bakersfield is. They had one claim to fame, the Bakersfield Sound. If you're country music fans, you might know that in the 60s, Nashville got a little silky and orchestral. Think Patsy Cline, beautiful music, but guys like Buck Owens and Merle Haggard said, we like a gutsier, more hardscrabble brand of country, and they took their own music out to Bakersfield and created the Bakersfield Sound. I bring that up because there's a famous element, just as your name is famous and the Eiffel Tower, and the question becomes, do we or don't we leverage that little piece of cultural history? And in Bakersfield, the answer was that we sort of do, and I'll show you how that worked. But there's Bakersfield in Kern County, again above Los Angeles where the Central Valley begins. Very diverse economy, but struggling because in the West where they had oil fields and agriculture, there was super competition and a lot of regulation that was affecting those sort of industries of the earth. And then in the east, they have a significant aerospace presence. You might know Mojave Spaceport and Edwards Air Force Base. So two sort of very different economic drivers in that county. We led them to this DNA statement: for those who appreciate the original sound of an authentic welcome, Bakersfield is where Los Angeles becomes the Central Valley and where you find the heart of California's giving ground. So everyone has a chance to find something better. And their branding for Bakersfield here on the left ended up the sound of something better. So a small wink to that country music heritage, but that was not the story. It was all about come have a better life, you can get a little more house for the money, and come off the coast in California and build a life here. And so it's been very effective for them. Here's how they've come together with the county EDC, the city, the chamber, and also the CVB. Most of all, this is where we want to see you in 9 months, all the regional partners coming together in celebration to push this brand forward to make Paris a more competitive place in the future. I'll tell you that the branding is fun, but this is when we really succeed, when we inspire actions and behaviors in the community. What we would love is to see your residents run with this idea on their own. So up in Marshall, Minnesota, a very remote small town, 14,000 people, home of Southwest Minnesota State University, also has an agricultural-based economy. Their brand was cultivating the best in us, but we saw that the Brow Brothers Brewery created a branded beer in Providence, Rhode Island, which we branded the Creative Capital they had a contest to see who could devise the most creative trash cans. Instead of just issuing standard city trash receptacles, they made a creative contest of it. And so that exuded that creative capital. In Greene County, Wisconsin, they make beer and cheese, and they stamp everything that comes out of there now with their county badge. And then in San Diego area, the 78 corridor, you can see how the business community got on board with the branding. That's Hobie Cat, who now has it at their entrance. What about results? That's what really matters. Every community has different objectives. We're going to work with your core team, Maureen, Grayson, and Paul, on the objectives we want to achieve. It might be economic development and new job growth. It might be residential growth, tourism. It could be all of the above. We'll work toward that, but that is a focus. This is not a feel-good. It's a business endeavor. And I'll stop there and open it to questions. I appreciate the time, and we're glad to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Ketchum. Any questions? We're all going to have a chance to visit with you one-on-one. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, just a quick comment. I know Mayor Pro Tem Hughes and I have sat in on some of the presentations that you guys have given, and man, really, every time I see your presentation, I get a new idea or something new that pops out to me from what you guys have done in the past with other cities. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with after meeting our citizens, after hearing the groups and the folks that have been chosen to kind of have their voices heard within the community. I hope that you pick up on the individuals that are not heard with a broader scope of what we are. Why are we united as citizens of Paris, Texas, right? But I'm very much looking forward to this opportunity to see this happen, and I think it's much needed. As I've traveled throughout the United States for different reasons and in business opportunities, I've seen cities really blossom into another entity. And I'm hoping to see the same thing for our home community here.
Well, it's a great opportunity for Paris, so we're excited to help. The exciting thing is the answer is already here. We're just going to help bring it to the surface. So we're not going to make something up. It's already here. We just got to go find it. So.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 11, discuss and act on a resolution approving an economic development and residential tax abatement agreement with Ronnie Enns, doing business as Enns Ventures LLC, pursuant to the city's 5 and 5 Housing Infill Development Program. Staff?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of City Council. I am very pleased to be before you this evening with all kinds of great news for new development and activity in the city of Paris. First up, on item number 11 tonight, I am pleased to invite for Ronnie Enns to be back. You recall Ronnie Enns appeared before you on property on Northwest 7th and Henderson, where we approved a waiver of some liens and so forth. We are now bringing forward his 5 and 5 infill housing development program for 5 new duplexes on this property, as well as 2 duplexes on Northeast 10th Street. And I'd like to invite Mr. Enns back to the podium tonight to talk a little bit about his house product and what it is that he intends to do. Staff is supporting this request, and we'll have a little bit more overview and statistical update on the 5 and 5 program and how things are rolling so far with it. Mr. Enns?
Hi, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking to bring some more places for people to live out here, some more places for people to rent something that's not in need of repairs, something that's clean and affordable. And so I think this is a good opportunity as an investor to work together with the city to try to make something work for everybody. So I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you.
Great. His general contractor will be Smallwood Construction. I don't know if Mr. Bart Chadwick's here this evening, so if you have any questions for either Mr. Enns or the general contractor, pleased to be working with both parties and moving this forward. And again, would recommend that you approve the next 5 and 5 program this evening.
We're seeing it come to fruition. Any questions?
Is Mr. Enns the same contractors that purchased the land on 7th Street next to Leon Williams Park?
Correct.
And when we anticipate breaking ground there?
He's anticipating Smallwood Construction getting the first 2 duplexes on 10th Street this year, and then next year or sooner, moving over onto Henderson. We still have some platting that needs to occur on the Henderson and 7th site. There'll be some extension of utilities involved there as well. So we'll be working with the setup lots and then coming back and platting these over the course of this year.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, I'll hear a motion.
I move that we approve the 5 and 5 infill development agreement with Ronnie Enns, with Enns Ventures LLC.
Second.
Second, a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion is unanimous. Item number 12, discuss and act on a resolution approving a residential tax abatement agreement with We're Going to Paris LLC. Mr. Mack?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I'm also extremely pleased. I've been working with 2 gentlemen, Mr. Seth Bain and Barrett Lindbergh, who are here this evening. They are becoming my new great heroes this year, working on a very challenging project that has been a concern for the city for years and years with the Westgate property. These gentlemen have experience in doing renovation work of this type through Dallas and throughout Texas. What we are bringing to you is a request for a tax abatement. Now, this is not through the 5 and 5 program. This is renovation. The 5 and 5 program applies specifically to new construction. This will be renovation. And so the council has already adopted a policy for residential renovation. We are bringing a slight twist to you on this based on the significant number of dwelling units involved in this project and the importance of bringing back life to this particular area of West Paris. We are recommending that you make a modification to the tax abatement policy on this and approve a 5-year 100% tax abatement. The gentlemen have had the opportunity, as well as myself, to go to the Lamar County Board this morning. They will be having continuing discussion awaiting the city's determination on what we do with this. We'll continue to work with the county on assisting them with developing legal documents and so forth. And so it's with great pleasure that I'm recommending the approval of this development agreement this evening. But before I do so, I'd like to invite Mr. Boehm and Mr. Lindbergh up here to tell you a little bit more about their company and some of the work that they've done. And welcome to Paris again.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. We're excited to be involved in this project. We've learned a lot about the history of this apartment complex in the last few months of our involvement. And everybody here has been very generous with their time and efforts to assist us in getting to a point where we can get this thing back to its grander days. We're excited to provide housing to the city. We've done our studies and we know you need it. And it's going to be, it's exciting to know there's people in the neighborhood, down the street doing other great stuff.
Any questions?
Yeah, we've got some sample, just sample work. We've done about 30 projects like this throughout Texas so far in our career. We specialize in bringing stuff back to life, and we haven't done all the design work on this yet, but expect to hopefully win Yard of the Month and hopefully renovation of the month as well in the near future. The project will be very clean and safe and affordable.
I do like the landscaping.
Yeah, I do too.
I'll say that this isn't, Westgate isn't part of my district, but I know it's very close.
It's in my district.
It's in Mayor Pro Tem Hughes' district, but whenever I got on council, this is the first thing we had talked about, and we said, man, we're right there next to each other. Our goal is to figure out something. And I know that it's switched hands a couple of times, but man, this is amazing. I know Mr. Mack had told us a little bit about you guys and your involvement in previous projects. And if this is anything like what Westgate's going to look like, hey, West Paris is about to boom. We want to see that. Our citizens need that. We need more opportunities, and that looks amazing. Is this something similar that you think you would be planning to put at Westgate?
These are all 1960s properties, and that's a 1960s property. So we generally do work like this, and that property's already been gut renovated. We have to actually gut renovate these, but that one's already been taken care of for us.
We're very keen on the existing architecture, and so our design team is not going to come in and try to create something that's not there or wouldn't have been there, in the 60s. There will be some, lively touches to it, but it's, working within the palette that you're given.
Nice.
And do you anticipate refurbishing every unit that's still there, or having to demolish certain units, or?
We're going to refurbish every unit that's there, and there's additional land that, hopefully if the project's successful, we can come back and talk about, additional development.
Understand, thank you.
I'll say this. I mean, I know we've had some great discussion on this project, but I'm in full support of this. If this helps to bring more houses and get more folks into our community, that we've been praying for someone to come in to repair this area. So,
Do you have a timeline when you might begin your site plan work and so forth?
So we're ready to begin pretty immediately. Our permits are ready and on hold until this gets formalized, and then we're meeting with the county as well. So we hope to kind of get started within the next 30 to 60 days, and it's about a 12-month process to get it all turned around.
Wonderful.
wow.
Have y'all taken title on the property yet?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And this will be affordable housing, or what, just renting, or? what?
There's no affordability component per se, but it is, it's going to be market rate, and, it's going to be affordable, attainable housing is the term that most people use.
The rents that we're underwriting are very similar to the affordable housing rents.
I understand, thank you.
All right. No further discussion. I'll hear a motion.
I move that we approve the residential property tax abatement with We're Going to Paris LLC.
And a second.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion is unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item number 13, receive an update on the city's 5 and 5 housing infill development program. Mr. Mack?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. We talked about having a little bit of a brief update on the program. I've given you a memo outlining some of the work that we've undertaken going back to January, where we adopted the guidelines. We entered into the interlocal agreement with all 4 taxing entities, making the city the one-stop place to shop, dealing with some of the tax foreclosure parcels. We are sort of slowly moving that process forward. There's been some hiccups in moving those tax sale faster along the process. It has to do with some of the computer software issues being experienced at LCAD. Fortunately, I believe that's been resolved now. Based on the level of interest in this program and development in general, we are seeing stronger interest in the property and acquisition of property. So the last tax sale that we had back in February, there was a disproportionate number compared to the last previous tax sales on properties that actually the taxing entities received their back taxes and liens, including the city's liens on property, and very few were put into the pool for the 5 and 5 program as a result. But we are moving forward with several other. We had approximately on the pre-application list roughly 70 properties identified from multiple builders, both from within our community and from outside, as we are beginning to see. So I'm looking forward to continuing to bring more forward. As of the statistic at this point, we had Mr. McKinney. We've just approved the Brown property. We had single families, duplexes. Mr. Enns tonight would be the third agreement, and we're working with the next three, totaling up for roughly 47 new dwelling units in the course of the first half of this year. So that's the overall update on that, and look forward to continuing to work with these folks that are entering into our program. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have on this.
I had one quick question. As I was kind of reading through all of our agenda items here this evening, one thing that stood out to me was goals. And I don't know if we've ever addressed this, but what is kind of the development goal for you guys annually that you want to see? I mean, I see that we see 46 dwellings, but what is kind of the thought process, or what is the internal goal that you guys have? Is there a goal? What's your planning stages going forward into the future?
Well, if we add these 47, and I believe we will have more this year, to the 110 that will represent Westgate remodeling, we're adding several new dwelling units, over 150, over 160, possibly even as many as 200 over the next year to get started with permits and construction this year and in next year. So if we were to attain, a couple, 100 a year new, I think that would be very attainable and realistic goal.
Fantastic.
You said there were 3 other developers. Who was that? You have them.
Currently working with Habitat for Humanity. They will be coming forward. Also with Skylar Burchnall for construction of a 10-plex in which would be Southwest Paris. And Austin Sugg for our fire department. That'd be 5 duplexes, 1 apartment, duplexes, single family, so a mixture of all types of housing.
One other question, I'm sorry. The other thing that I was going to ask, and I think I alluded to this, I had this question the first time we talked about 5 and 5 a couple months ago, or finalizing 5 and 5. The marketability of it, is there a component that you guys may implement in the future for marketing for this? Because I know we had, like Mr. McKinney was from out of town from McKinney, and we have a few folks, obviously, or majority of these folks actually from, I guess, within our community. But will there be like something on the website that may market this? I know it was first come, first serve, so it's like, a rat race, but I'm just curious. I mean, because I've talked to a lot of, contractors, GCs, subcontractors from out of town and within our community that are very interested, but they don't have a direct listing.
There it is, right up on the website.
Perfect. Okay, great.
We've also developed a brochure. It just gives the basics information about it, along with what we developed for our retail incentive. So we're definitely have information we get out. I continue to receive calls weekly on this program. We are attracting interest from around the region, and it's exciting. There is a lot of interest in the program. Again, it's not a quick fix. It's going to be a long haul on this to really see the potential that this program holds, I think, for the community.
Mr. Hughes, did you want to speak to this?
Oh, yes, and also.
If you'd come forward, please.
We've also been working closely with Mr. Andrews, Parish Urban Development, and we have, actually, one house should be ready to start next month, 2 months. And then we have 2 properties that we just found out that were zone commercial. So we'll be coming back forth to get that changed over. So in the next 90 days, we're looking to have 3 we're doing affordable homes, single-family affordable homes. So looking forward to working with the city on that.
And Mr. Hughes represents one of the pre-contractors on the list, preparing for moving forward. So,
yeah. So we went out and purchased, since the hiccup happened with that, we just went out and purchased outright 7 properties to start building on with it.
And Mr. Hughes represents one of the pre-contractors on the list, preparing for moving forward. So,
So we went out and purchased, since the hiccup happened with that, we just went out and purchased outright 7 properties to start building on with it.
Great,
So
thank
thank y'all.
you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Any further questions or comments?
Well, yes, of course, there's a comment from me. I just think this is a great thing, and I really appreciate you, Andrew, and your vision in bringing this around. I just see this as revitalizing our neighborhoods that are deteriorating rapidly, and I think this is going to help turn that around. Hope so, anyways.
I agree. Starting to see the successes.
I believe we're well on the way.
All right, item number 14, receive a quarterly update as to the status of the vacant building registration. Mr. Mack?
Thank you. For this item, I'd like to invite Robert Talley and Sherry Bedford up to the podium to join me on this one. This particular item has really been a team approach. Just before my joining the city, can you find your presentation? I'm not sure exactly where we've got that. Our city manager had kind of retooled my department and how we are working to address the vacant building ordinance that was adopted back in 2018. In your packet, we have a parcel information of some of the statistics, a little bit of a look at how things have gone over time. And I think at this point, what I'm going to do is indicate that we are moving forward in a positive fashion. This is something that we continue to do on an annual basis, and there are funds that are coming into the city as a result of this registration. We believe that it is having a positive effect on redevelopment, in particular in our downtown. We are seeing some success stories that we're going to share with you tonight. And I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sherry Bedford to kick off our presentation.
So I was here when we first started the vacant property registry and was excited, and we had several people came in support of it. So it started in April of 2018. And I've recently created, with the help of a consultant, a downtown map, and we've identified that we have 197 parcels in downtown. That includes vacant lots, not just buildings. So I don't have the exact count of the buildings, but I know we have 197 parcels. In 2021, there were approximately 38 buildings on our vacant building list. I'll make this go. Okay. So just to give you an overview of what downtown looks like from the sky, the 10,000 view, you can see in this area we have our downtown historic district commercial. Okay, this does not include the residential. And then here's a little look of a downtown map that kind of gives you a little bit of what's going on with the infill. When you see the pink color, you see domestic, and we have some residential. The black represents our vacant properties that we have right today. Robert and I went over the vacant property list piece by piece to make sure we had an exact number, and we have 44 properties, and you can kind of see you know, where it's a little bit heavy on maybe on the east and the south side, or the west on the south side. And so, then here's what it looks like in downtown. So our most recent count was on Friday, and 44 properties. So the plaza is right in the middle, right here. Wanted to kind of talk about, of those vacant properties, you kind of see those in the gray. In 2021, we had 7 certificates of appropriateness pulled on those properties. Those mean that projects are being worked on or have been completed. And so that is just the vacant properties that you're looking at right now. We've had 59 certificates of appropriateness total in 2021. So, I mean, somebody's doing something in downtown. Okay. Go ahead.
Just wanted to talk to you a little bit more about the history and some of the changes you're going to see. The reason for the changes in the number of the vacant buildings between 2021 and 2022 is due to a number of factors. And basically what I'm talking about, you're going to see an increased number, okay? Because we said we had 38, well, now we have 44. A lot of that is because we have a much more detailed input of data. We have, before, if these buildings were for sale, even though they were vacant, or if they had a building permit, they never made it on the list. You know, they were already receiving a fee waiver, so we didn't put it on the list. What we've done now is we have just said, if they are vacant, they're vacant. We're making you a 100% list that we have 44 vacant properties. A lot of this is because our city manager, Mr. Path, he has really changed our whole approach. This is an entire community development team approach. It's made everything, it streamlined everything. Different people have different responsibilities. The fact that we're able to work together with Andrew's help, with Paige, everybody has came together. We're actually getting, true numbers. Another part of the change is that because there is so much going on downtown, and I think any of you guys can go down there and see the changes, we have multiple ownership changes simply because even though the buildings are vacant, you've got somebody that will come in and they're buying it immediately. As soon as it's up for sale, it's gone. So like I said, again, that's some of the changes that you'll see from the 38 to the 44. Just click. Okay.
We're just going to go through some of the changes that happened in 2021. So this Ellen Green and Leaf remodeled. They bought this building at the end of 2020, began remodeling it, and right now, that building has about to complete 2 lofts. On the right side is going to be a bodega, and on the left side, there's already a boutique. So.
And again, these are before and after pictures.
Right. This is 140 First Street Northwest. This building has been receiving a lot of love. The person that bought it has some ideas. Initially, axe throwing venue, but he's definitely going to do a venue of sorts. So he pulled a certificate of appropriateness recently to paint it, but it looked like it did right there on the bottom left way before I started in 2010. So. This project right here, 39 North Main, person that purchased that has been pouring a lot of love in it. It's an active building permitted project, also receiving tax credits, is going to come to us on Wednesday for a facade grant. So we've got a facade grant going for this. On the side, we've redone the Topic Cigar, but even though it looks like this, it's really in construction. Lofts upstairs and a brewery in the bottom. So. Rigby's Cigar, they've been working on this for quite a while, but as you can see, what we have on the right was what we were looking at. That was a vacant building as long as I was here, and it was in really, really bad shape. And so they've spent a lot of time and effort, and they're very, very close to opening their business. So, but it is included on the vacant registry. This one is one that's kind of cool. This was a vacant building from the time that I started in 2010, and it opened up last year as Spencer Orthodontics, and there's a luxury housing on top, and they employ 8 new jobs. Okay, this little strip here had a lot of love put on it. It had, it had some facades, just some metal and tin on the front of this building. It was all removed. These were all considered vacant properties in 2021. At the end of 2020, when this one opened as Picky Piglet, we've got Mimi's Boutique and Cat Media. Those all opened the end of October. Of course, we all have seen 37 Clarksville. It's also just recently opened all of its Airbnbs. There are 4 upstairs, and this was probably one of the worst buildings we had.
I would say that it was the second worst building in all of downtown.
Yeah.
And look at what we have now.
It was really on the demo list for sure. People didn't really see any vision in that building, but right now the man that purchased it was from Paris, Texas, grew up here. He completely fixed this building. It is unbelievable. This is just a small picture of one of the front lofts. You can see this little building right here is Ellen Green's building. So this is the fronting loft, but the basement or the ground floor was falling in. It's been lifted up, raised up. It's going to be a storefront, speakeasy, and we've already opened the luxury lofts. So this is, I think, 130 North Main. This was a vacant building for a very long time. It was recently purchased. The couple has painted the front, done some landscaping. They're waiting on their sign, but on the inside, it was just a mess. It was a mess, and they have completely gutted it, and what you're looking at here in the center is like a salon. They've done some different salons and individual salons, so just having to go in there was blown away how beautiful it looked. So, and then, you want to talk about these?
We just put a few pictures in here. They're just examples of a vacant property. You've got one here. We all know this one. It's 1 Lamar. This is the Belford. This one is actually very interesting. This used to be a comic book store, and bookstore was on the far west end. Owner purchased it. It's all been gutted, and he should be coming to us very soon. He's had several different things that he's kicking around, but it's very exciting because it's basically he's going to transform an entire city block. You know, those buildings cover the entire 200 block of Bonham, and, you know, he's going to work on the entire thing.
And he has come to us to discuss, you know, the fee waivers and things like that, but his project probably isn't going to start until next year. So he is one of those that understood the reason we have the vacant property registry and is willing to work with the city on that. But this whole block, he's got a lot of plans for it, so that's really all I have. You want to talk?
Great. I guess the one thing I want to also mention, we're going to change a little bit. We're going to revise. This is an annual registry, and this year the letters were all mailed out February 1st. Moving forward for 23, we think those letters, the initial requirement for new registry or re-registry, those will be going out closer to Thanksgiving so that we have time to, you know, get the owners on board. The other thing is that we also began outreach, a verbal outreach, and trying to work with the property owners, helping them understand the reason for the regulations, also answering questions to make sure they're aware of incentives that the community does offer in terms of our facade grants and so forth. And hopefully, one of the things that we have a priority identified coming to you from the HBC and the Main Street Advisory Board will be to consider possible future increases in those facade grants, pending available funding to do so. So that's really kind of the overview of the vacant building registry, and I think our team here would be happy to answer any questions the council may have.
I had just a couple comments and questions. Real quick, I know social media is social media. We all know how that goes, but seeing some of these pictures of the before and after, stunning. Is there any way, and legally, of course, I want to make sure with Stephanie, but can we market this on social media from the Paris municipality or whatever Facebook group there is? Or I just want to, I really think we need a full frontal attack on saying, hey, this is Paris. These are the changes we're seeing. Citizens, look at this. You know, out-of-towners, look at this. This is huge. And I think that's part of Mr. Ketchum's plan, right? That's the goal, is just to change this, change the narrative to say, look, things are happening. And I think this PowerPoint, this is awesome. I've seen a lot of these, but man, some of these I haven't seen, and I was like, man, it's stunning. It really is. Is there any way we could look into that?
We do a few of those. We do ask permission of the property owner. It's just one of those things that we need to get to and do more of, honestly. But yes, we can, as long as the property owner gives us permission, so.
That's fantastic.
A picture's worth 1,000 words.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
We watch
Thank
things
you.
get renovated and over time, right? And it's little bit by little bit by little bit. But when you see them side by side, boom, boom, it's like, it's hard to imagine. Miss Green's property was just, that was unbelievable, the changes
Well,
with that.
I remember
Tour
we as
last
city
week,
staff-
yeah.
I remember we as city staff and then members of the community, we all know what Gene the Jewelers looked like, and it was a metal, facade, and just how they piece by piece.
Right.
And we're all on pins and needles because we're like, oh, is the brick still going to be intact? Is the mortar? And you see the finished product, and it's just, it's amazing.
I know.
True.
I can't say your last name, I'm sorry.
So I think other things too that will continue to incentivize this as we continue with our downtown lighting committee. We're going to be creating a festive atmosphere and continue to do everything that the community can to help continue to encourage. So we have a number of tools in our toolbox, and the vacant building registry is just one more of those tools that we're able to use to help further incentivize redevelopment.
Is there a way to get better compliance for something that popped into my mind with facade grants? They can't get a facade grant if they weren't fully registered, insured, and so forth.
I think the vacant property registry does. We have the money coming in for the vacant property registry, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we are allowing people to use that money for facade grants, but it is for specifically the vacant buildings. So when we do use the fees that we take in, they should be already registered, and then we can go ahead and in turn help with facade grant money. We have designated facade grant money through our general fund, but there's so much going on, as you can see. We've been giving it away, which is great, but we have been running short sometime as well. And so we've been able to incentivize those with vacant buildings with some of the money and fees they're paying in. So,
because those vacant property owners aren't contributing to that fund by paying their registry fee every year. So I don't think they should be qualified to get a facade grant, if that can be.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's legal or not, but that's my thought.
Well, and again, on some of that, if they were willing to do a facade grant and actually work on the building, they may get a fee waiver anyway. They may not have to, they kind of work, you're working hand in hand. You're incentivizing, all the owners down there to work on the buildings. So.
And we've got some new owners that I know have good intentions.
Well, and some of Mr. Mack's approach, as far as, like he said, one of the things that we've added is we're trying to reach out and verbally talk. A lot of that is because there is so much ownership change they're not really aware of. Whereas before, we sat static for, a couple of years to where you had the same owners that had the same properties. You're seeing all this growth, so, they're like, oh, I didn't know what I was supposed to, so that's why we're trying to, reach out to them and talk to them, one-on-one on the phone or whether it's face-to-face, and just tell them, hey, this is the program.
Two things on that. I think it's super important from a commercial standpoint, and then also from, even if it's a residential building, just having that one-on-one or just having that outreach from the city to that entity or to that particular owner, saying, hey, we're here for you if you need anything. That's the biggest thing that I've heard from general contractors or developers that are looking to come into our community and say, man, I just wish that we would have gotten that. And this was from the past, but I know that you guys have been working on that, and we've seen a change in attitude on that and saying, I really appreciate the city staff coming forward. So kudos to you on that. I think that's all, sometimes it's just TLC in a relationship as opposed to just a building, but just that, extending that relationship forward and saying, hey, we'd love to work with you, and we love that you're investing in our community. That's huge. So I appreciate that. So kudos on that. I had one other thought, and now I'm kind of getting lost here. So I'm gonna forego that, and if it comes to my head, I'll definitely give you guys a shout.
Good presentation, staff. We appreciate it. Any more questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Item number 15, discuss and act on an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 4, Article 4.02, Construction Codes and Standards, Article 4.03, Section 4.03.004, Building and Standards Commission established, proceedings, civil penalties, Article 4.04, residential rental property maintenance, Article 4.05, vacant buildings, and amending Appendix A fee schedule. Mr. Mack?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I'm going to refer to this one as almost the birth of a child. This has been about a 9-month effort right now that we've been working on. So a group of owners in our residential HP2 district approached, and I met with a group of people, including Councilmember Knox from this district, and there was questions about how can we deal with some of the concerns about dilapidated properties, homes that stand vacant, and the fact that we have some properties that have not necessarily had the greatest reputation in terms of being operated as rental properties. So what we are bringing to you this evening as a result of this group effort, you heard at the Citizen Forum a comment. We received several positive comments when this was presented to the Historic Preservation Commission, as well as efforts as a part of creating this within the context strictly of the historic districts within the community. We have hired a new assistant building official in my department who started late last year. I'd like to invite James Hooten to the podium here with me tonight, and also the team approach. We're going to bring Mr. Talley back again here. This is something that we are looking to roll out upon adoption of this ordinance. It's going to serve two basic purposes. Number one, it's going to give us a little bit more definition in the vacant building. We've had some nuances in terms of the downtown. Do I have to register? Don't I have to register? Is there a fee waiver eligible? Isn't there? So we're clarifying a couple of those in there, but we're also adding the vacant residential properties within the historic district overlays. You saw the map earlier that Sherry had up on the screen. All properties within the historic overlay district, this will apply to. So we will begin registering through this ordinance those vacant residential properties and hoping to provide further upkeep and maintenance of those properties as well. The Code Enforcement Division deals extensively with these properties, and there is a burden on the city from a resource standpoint to continually work on providing maintenance, upkeep, boarding up of these properties. We end up with vagrancy and other things that we feel that this will help to successfully address a number of those issues. The second component will be a brand new rental licensing program whereby we would register properties as rental. We'd have set up an inspection program that would occur every 2 years following initial registration. We're dealing basically, all we're looking at doing here is addressing basic life safety needs of these rental properties. Are there smoke detectors? James is going to cover some of the items in the checklist that we'll be looking at. And so a very basic, straightforward life safety type inspections that we'll provide as a part of this. We've identified roughly in advance with some study approximately 55 properties that may potentially be eligible as a rental occupancy that would fall under this program, and we'll talk a little bit about how we'll implement that. And how we intend to do that is through adoption of basic life safety design considerations, and those are spelled out in the International Property Maintenance Code, and we will use that as a basis for conducting inspections. So I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to James and let you walk through what we've set up so far.
All right, thank you. Mayor and council, thank you for your time. If this is approved this evening by the council, what you see in front of you is a brochure that we will mail out to potential landlords. Along with the brochure, there will be...
Is there page 2 on this?
No. On the back side of it, it will have a short version of the checklist that we will be doing inspections with, and it will give just a brief discussion. We will also be sending out a letter to the landlords with this brochure where they can get registered with the city, and it's $55 for every 2 years. And like Mr. Matt said, we will do a biannual inspection every 2 years. As far as the inspections, we'll be checking for minimum life safety, smoke detectors, make sure the stairways are in good condition, make sure there's no open electrical outlets or exposed wiring, make sure the plumbing is in good standards. Along with code enforcement, we will check the exterior, make sure fences are not falling down, any storage buildings are not deteriorating, and just exterior lighting, interior lighting, make sure everything is not of life safety issues.
And again, on your screen, you can just see our checklist there.
And then here is the letter that we have come up with to send out with the brochure to the potential landlords.
Is this going to be similar or parallel to our rental code enforcement that we have now outside of the historical district?
So this actually will amend that section of city code. That portion of the city code applies citywide, and really our only enforcement measures there are upon complaint basis, and it's for two things. It's for hazardous electrical and gas fittings and issues with gas appliances inside the structure. They're on complaint basis only. This program won't apply citywide. Again, this will be just the historic districts. And
I thought our rental deal applied citywide. I thought it was also like doors and windows and
It
you
is.
couldn't have plywood and.
It's ingress, egress, and you are correct. It was a very pared down, it was just structurally, does it have holes in the roof?
Yeah.
Do the doors work?
So this
If they
one's
have water, will the toilet flush, things like that. This is a little bit more inclusive, yes.
Okay.
Those also are not set up on a routine basis.
Right.
This will be established as a routine basis. There's a very nominal fee that will cover the inspection of the property once every 2 years with their re-registration. Again, this is coming to you as a very strong recommendation from the neighborhood in which this will help address a number of concerns. And again, also comes to you as a strong recommendation from your Historic Preservation Commission that met on this back a month and a half ago, I believe was in March.
I had two callers from the historic district that contacted me because they couldn't be here tonight, but they support this very strongly. If you'll come forward.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you guys. I'm just speaking on behalf of support of this as someone that's built two brand new, really nice homes, and then seeing two houses down from me, a house that hasn't been lived in decades, and there's mice that run around from the tall grass, which was mowed yesterday for the first time this year. So I'm total support of this. If we want to see change that we've seen in the commercial side, unfortunately, this is a requirement. It'd be nice if people just did what they were supposed to do, but unfortunately don't. I know kids that live in a house beside me, close to me, in the historic district that don't have outlets in some of their rooms and don't have toilets that work. And this individual is allowed to rent this out to these people, you know, and there's houses up the street that the windows have been missing for 2 months. And, you know, that is unacceptable. And there's people living in them right now. Really nice historic homes. Gary and Vicky Blackshear also told me to shout and say they're totally in support of this as well.
Thank you, Mr. Hyder.
All right, thank you.
Any more questions or discussion?
Well, I have a comment.
Please.
I have a statement, I should say. All right, Mayor Pro Tem and fellow council members, I'm asking you for your continued support in the protection of the historic Church Street District and our other historically designated areas throughout Paris by adopting further protections for the property owners that make up these historic areas. The single-family owner-occupied home owners in the Church Street Historic District neighborhood are extremely sensitive to government overreach, but by choice we live in these historic districts and are already heavily regulated. We are proposing further regulations as protections for these single-family owner-occupied homes from the encroachment of the deterioration that we see happening in the neighborhoods around us. The fees associated with the vacant and rental property registries, I understand, will go towards facade grants for homeowners who improve the facades to their homes and other beautification projects within the district. I hope you will consider adding this to the arsenal that will help provide us some protections from these encroaching deterioration, like the city's 5 and 5 program and the intensified efforts with the tax attorney, Tracy Pounders, to attempt to get some homes revitalized before they hit the Buildings and Standards Commission. In fact, we've already started the process of saving one of the oldest homes in Paris on 3rd Southeast from the fate of the Buildings and Standards Commission. So I hope that you will consider passing the vacant building and the rental property registries proposed tonight here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Knox. Any other discussion or questions? Mr. Path?
I'd like to also add in here, as you know, the last 2 years, we've been working hard to fairly enforce codes across our community, and they're there for a good reason. And they're there to create safety, but also to give our residents a reasonable standard of living. And the International Property Maintenance Code is just that. And I've read the code. I've read the International Property Maintenance Code. And so these things, they are not burdensome. And they're there to just give basic expectations for livable conditions for individuals here. And so we've recently seen situations, as we saw even last week, of conditions that are deplorable for people to live in. And we need to stop that in Paris. And so I think these codes will be a good tool for us to work in this part of the community to help give our tenants some good conditions there, at least minimum expectations. And so I'd like to encourage you to approve this. I'd like to thank our men and women in our departments who've worked hard to guide this to tonight. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Could we potentially see this go outside of the historic districts also?
And that would be my question as well.
That is obviously a controversial topic there. It is my recommendation that someday we get to that point. And so as your city manager, I would recommend that we do work toward that at some point. I don't think we're there to that point yet. We've come a long ways in 2 years, and we still have more ways to go. But I think we need to try this out and see how it works, and then keep moving from there.
Not wanting to drink out of a fire hose, but definitely we need to look out for our citizens. That's huge. And I think starting this in our historic district, absolutely, you're spot on. But the goal, I think, is to make this citywide. So one day, whether that be sooner or later, I hope that happens. Absolutely.
I have lived in a smaller city than Paris that had this type of ordinance. The inspections, a small fee to cover the cost, doesn't really cover it, but helps. And it was very successful. At first, it did not include apartment buildings, only single-family or multifamily housing, low density. But apartment owners wanted that because they felt like if they made it a clean, safe place, they could charge more rent. And they were very supportive, and it was a very successful program.
You know, when this thing started, there was a lot of support from the residents, but the exciting part was when it extended to our team of staff members who really got excited about this. And they've really thought about it, and of course I'm over here chomping at the bit because I think it's kind of going sort of slow. But, they laid the great groundwork, they did the research, they've got nice brochures, they've got good information. They really did the research so that this isn't going to be anything haphazard. It's going to be, it's done with such thought and such care. And I'm just really proud of the work that you guys have done. And I really hope that we can pass this and get started on preserving our neighborhoods.
On that, I'll hear a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Go ahead.
Yes.
To approve this
Of course.
ordinance, yes.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you, staff. Item number 16, discuss and act on a resolution repealing prior policies and procedures for boards and commissions and adopting new policies and procedures for boards and commissions. Staff?
Yes, Stephanie Harris, Janice Ellis, and I have been working hard the last few months to re-examine our policy that governs basically gives the bylaws for our boards and commissions in our community. As you know, in a few weeks here, you'll be selecting, filling vacancies on boards. So I think the timing is very appropriate here. Over the last several years, even the last 10 years or so, we have developed different bylaws for different entities, and we have bylaws for the PEDC. We now have bylaws for the Airport Advisory Board. There are bylaws for the P&Z, and in time, those have kind of drifted apart, which is fine. But we had this policy that was supposed to be governing all of them, but it ended up being conflicting at times. And so we would say that okay, you need to have so many members on the board. They have so many years in the term, but then you go to the other document, it says something different there. And then even within the document, the overarching document, it would try to summarize these other documents, but only summarize parts of it. So we decided, we need to clean it all up. And so we have in front of you tonight a completely rewritten document for policies and procedures for boards and commissions. And the main change here is we acknowledge that there are other documents that apply to EDC or Airport Advisory Board or Band Commission and so forth. So we actually recognize those. We reference them directly. That way for the reader and for the future individuals in our positions, they can go straight. Okay, if I'm looking at Zoning Board of Adjustment, I want to go to the board, the policy and procedures, but also I want to go to City of Paris, Chapter 9, Exhibit B, Section 16. That way you can find all the information on that entity, whether you're talking about terms or chairman or duties and so forth. And so with that, the document then goes on to say, okay, if you do not have another governing document that applies to you, then this is your rule. This is what you fall to. Again, if this other document does not cover the topic, you fall back to this. But we didn't want all that crisscrossing so much that was occurring there, so this kind of cleans all that up. It gives everyone a more straightforward route for answering questions on terms or appointments or procedures, or who can call a meeting or who can't call a meeting, removal, those processes there. So this is completely rewritten, but we recommend your approval for this tonight, and then we'll be bringing vacant applicants to you, I think, in a month from now to fill vacancies.
Thank you. I had one observation. I think it's an overall good progress, but I didn't see anything where someone could seek an excused absence.
An excused absence?
Yeah, by calling ahead or making arrangements, because sometimes I sit and a board or commission is waiting for a quorum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe all we touched on here was the 75%. Let me look through here. Yeah, under D, attendance at a minimum of 75% of all regular meetings beginning July 1st, going through June 30th. Make sure I don't cover it somewhere else here. That can be an easy addition we can put in there. So we did not touch on that, and I recognize that now. So we could, if you like, I don't know how you want to word it, but just an excused absence. Of course, you have to define what's an excused absence. Anything can be an excuse. Mm-hmm. And
well, an extended illness, hospitalization, something like that, or a severe illness, But again, maybe we make that if you miss this many, voluntarily resign, and so that we have a board member that's in the seat.
Yeah. I'm sure we can work up some language for that, and so we can amend that to add that in here for excused absence. In fact, I think we can probably pull some language out of our proposed charter edits for city council. Yep, we can do that.
Shall we pass it with an amendment, or
you can
bring
do
it back
either?
to us?
We can bring it back to you with that. In fact, let's just do that. Let's do that instead. So that way you can have a chance to look at the language, and in case there's any other edits as well. So
I just had a quick comment. Is there any way, and I didn't see this included, but I just wanted to ask you real quick, in regards to the policies and procedures, I feel like it's imperative for any board or any commission that gets together, you should always have a policies and procedures or the Constitution, whatever it may be, that governs that body present. Can we have something to where that city staff that is in charge of that board or that committee, or not committee, we took that out, but commission, have that present. I know it's a 3-page thing, but for those that have the exceptions also, let that be present. So that way, if there is a circumstance that you may need to refer back to, it's then, you take a pause and take a look at that and see, hey, let's clarify on where we're confused here and make sure we're abiding by what our governing body.
I think it's an excellent idea. I think since most of these entities actually have their meetings in this room right here, we can probably actually put a binder with all the bylaws and just with dividers in there for airport advisory board, zoning board, and then for those who don't meeting here, we can work with those employees to have a copy there. Also, too, we want to make sure every board member has a copy for their own personal use as well.
Absolutely, and then also, I know whenever I first started off trying to serve our community with, any board or any commission, I think that we need to have a good onboarding process.
Mm-hmm.
And this is step one. I think this is huge. But I know going in, I was very confused about the trainings and maybe just having some sort of Dropbox link, a general that anyone can maybe go to and say, hey, look, citizen A or community member A, this is what is kind of expected. Here's a quick intro. Go for it. I think that helps a lot too. And maybe just a general description of exactly what each board does. Because I have a lot of people, when we have vacancies and we're looking for someone, they'll ask and they'll say, hey, what is expected of me in this role? But I think having that may help a lot. So aside from that, impeccable job. This is very helpful.
Thank you. No, yeah, I agree. Ms. Ellis and I, we've been talking about we need to revamp our whole onboarding process. Once you get put on a board, I think years ago they used to have an actual orientation, but with COVID that kind of fell apart. And but we need to bring that back up. And I think this will kind of streamline that more. And yes, we need to do that.
I believe they have to complete training within 90 days
Yes,
or resign.
Texas law requires you have to have, that's the third page here, you have to have Ethics, Public Information Act, and Open Meetings Act within 90 days. That's Texas law. It's not a Paris, it's Texas law. So and those are all done online. So.
All right, thank you, if you'll bring that back to us.
Bring that back, and if I might bring in consent, unless there's any other major edits, but we'll put in consent next time. That works okay.
Thank you very much. Item number 17, discuss and possibly act on procedures for conducting annual evaluations of the city manager, city attorney, and municipal judge. Councilmember Knox requested this item so that we can discuss the process and the timeline. Last year, the process was that Mayor Pro Tem Hughes and Councilmember Pankaj volunteered and to look into that. And is there any interest in doing that? And then bringing us something at the next council meeting, May 23rd, I believe.
The only question I have before I volunteer on that is, did we like the setup? Did we like the forms and everything that were put together? Was that good with the council?
We used two of the forms, city attorney and municipal judge, that we've used for as long as I've been on the council. And Mr. Path found a form that he liked, and so he used that.
Is there any other, any other advice on other forms, or are we cool with those forms? Are we good with those forms?
I like the forms. I don't have a problem with the forms. If the person that we're evaluating has some input, that would be great also, as Mr. Path, had input in his. I think that would be great. I also would like to see more council members participate in the individual evaluation process. I know that in years past, people have been uncomfortable because they've just come on and they really don't understand and that kind of thing, and that kind of puts us in an awkward position, to have a united front. I think when we had started the process, we each evaluated separately, and then there was a meeting where there were some averaging gone on so that there would be one document presented to the employee so that we had a united front instead of having here's mine, and oh, well, I didn't feel, and here's mine, and that kind of thing. One document is easier to represent one voice from the whole council. I don't know, it worked for a little while, and I don't know how you all feel about that, but I kind of liked that.
So for clarification, are you saying like, for example, we use a form of last year. Let's just say if we were to volunteer again, send those back out to each council member, they fill it out, send it back.
Right.
Tally it up,
Yeah.
and then just get one finalized one with all 7 members' notes and everything on there, questions, comments, any concerns on there, plus the ratings. Put that all together, and then just have that in executive and discuss that with that individual. Is that correct?
I think in that.
And then
Yes, I
to,
think
did
we've
that
done
one
that
time.
several years.
to your first comment, though, were you meaning give that form to, whether it's a city attorney, city manager, city judge, give one copy to them and let them fill out theirs and let them rate themselves? Is that kind of what you were?
Actually, I was thinking that if there was something that they didn't like in the evaluation, that maybe they could suggest something, a different question or a different maybe subcategory where we ranked them. They could maybe have make a suggestion on a change. I mean, I think we would be open to that.
I think that's just my thought on that. I agree, but maybe before we submit the final form, could we get their input, each individual's input that we're rating, and make sure that, hey, any comments that you want to add, or any questions or whatever to the form that you want to add or subtract or amend, let us know by this meeting date, and then that way we have something to go off of.
Because I think there was something on the judge's evaluation that didn't even really apply to what he did. And
Wasn't even appropriate. I
we
don't
were
think.
very
We
curious as
scratched
to
that
about
last year.
that. And so I was just thinking, I really liked the fact that Mr. Path had some suggestions on his, and I thought, wow, because we had done a thorough search of all kinds of different evaluations, and we ended up with what we ended up with, but all of a sudden he had one that was just stellar.
Yeah.
And I would like to see, if the other employees have a suggestion on things that we could do to improve theirs. And then we have to get comfortable in that role as well. It's not comfortable, but it's part of what makes them a good employee as well, is getting feedback.
Would anyone be opposed to putting like having the city manager, having the city attorney, having the city judge rate themselves on one, and then they show us theirs also, so to see how in tune we are?
We can do whatever we want.
There you go. Is there any opposition to that? I was just curious. I mean, I know last year whenever we were doing this, I thought, no, why don't we do that? Why don't we try that? But I think that's a good idea. I know I do that with my staff.
Great.
So.
Well, are there volunteers that would work all that up for us and have suggested dates for those? I don't think we want to do them all on one night, but maybe we do. That would be a recommendation.
I don't mind volunteering. I don't know about dates, but I don't mind volunteering. That's fine. Maybe I think as a council, maybe we could come up with some dates and obviously with all due fairness to the individual that would be, rating, we make sure, in evaluating, that we make sure that it lines up. But I know budget workshops are coming up too, so I want to be fair in executive session, make sure we have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else volunteer?
Well, we have 2 council members that are absent, so we need to see if they would like to. But if
Okay.
not, we'll keep it.
All right. I will contact the other council members and see if we have some volunteers. And item number 18, convene into executive session pursuant to section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code. 1, to discuss or deliberate regarding commercial or financial information that the governmental body has received from a business prospect that the governmental body seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the territory of the governmental body, and with which the governmental body is conducting economic development negotiations. Or 2, to deliberate the offer of a financial financial or other incentive to a business prospect described by subdivision 1 as follows. Project Athens. The time is 7:04, and the city council will now convene into executive session. Item number 19, reconvene into open session and possibly take action on those matters discussed in executive session. The time is 7:20 PM, and the city council is now in open session, and no action is required. Item number 20, consider and approve future items for city council and our city staff. Yeah, anyone have anything?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'll hear a motion and a second for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.